Holy cow, Dollar General is in hot water and we've got the details. In today's video, we're going to be taking a different look into Dollar General because, well, this is wild. Now, because these are some pretty serious allegations, I am throwing out a couple of disclaimers. I will be discussing my opinions, and those are not facts. I'll also be sharing an article by Coupons in the News, and that will be linked in the pinned comment down below. And the headline reads, Dollar General accused of overstuffing warehouses, overstocking stores, and overworking employees. Now, you may or may not know this about me, but I have been sharing tips and tricks and other ways to save at Dollar General for over 5 years here on YouTube. And as a consequence of that, I have gained a unique knowledge about all things DG. So when I saw this article, I was shocked. Not at the allegations. No, we all know Dollar General has their issues. I was shocked that someone was speaking out. Not just someone, but someone that could actually make a difference. This isn't just your average Joe Schmo. I mean, these are shareholders and former employees actually going on the record. And this might be a small step in actually forcing DG to make some long overdue changes that not only benefit themselves, but also their employees, customers, and the communities that they serve. Now, I won't hold my breath, but every time someone speaks up, that's one more nasty stain on the record. And I know what you're probably thinking. People have been speaking up. People have walked out, they've protested, even filed other lawsuits. In fact, one of the most well-known lawsuits is overpricing. The price at the register doesn't match what's on the shelf. And unfortunately, those lawsuits have been going on for years. Dollar General's reputation has literally become the butt of many jokes. Multiple viral videos and even entire careers have been built around making fun of Dollar General. And I don't know, but as we like to say in the South, DG might be getting a little bit too big for their own britches. Between price increases and more stores going up every single day, it seems like Dollar General is only concerned with making the next dollar. Or million, I should say. I mean, you have to ask yourself, do they care about their customers? Do they care about their employees? And do they care about the communities that they serve? Well, with my unique background in tracking all things DG, I have taken note of many things over the years. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I have noticed patterns and practices from inventory to employment and even unexplained position shifts up at the top. I have seen stores that were managed well and in good shape, and I've also seen absolute trash stores. I truly believe that running a successful store is all about having strong management and good leadership at the top. And that's where this article comes in. It's all about the people at the top. They're pulling back the curtain and they're calling out all of the things. So let's get into it. The article begins by saying, if disgruntled employees and customers can't get Dollar General to clean up its act, maybe investors can. That's the basis of the latest in a wave of lawsuits brought on by investors who allege the retailer deceived them into believing everything was going well, obscuring major problems managing inventory that resulted in sloppy stores and worn-out workers. So my first thoughts are, holy smokes, they are literally alleging that they lied and hid things from the investors. And my question to the investors would have to be, do you all need glasses? Because if you look at Dollar General over the last 5 years, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that there's some issues there. Now, it continues on and it says, in his new federal complaint, plaintiff Justin Potter, a Dollar General shareholder, echoes many of the allegations made in other recent shareholder lawsuits. There are unkempt stores that have led to OSHA violations, overworked employees that have led to massive turnover, and mispriced items that have led to fines and further lawsuits. So hopefully we're going to get to the bottom of things, because it continues on and says, Potter's complaint seeks to identify the root cause of it all. He pins the blame on completely unnecessary items being ordered, warehoused, misplaced, thrown out, or ultimately unloaded onto stores that have no need for excess items. Nowhere to put it all, and no employees to deal with it. Okay, Mr. Potter, you have my attention. That was definitely a mic drop, and I really hope that we do get to the bottom of things. Now, in this video, I have included a few video clips of a store that's, well, having some issues. And I thought it was pretty fitting because we are going to be discussing a few possible reasons that a store would look like this. A lot of people automatically assume that it's the store employee's fault, and it could be. I'm not going to sit here and claim that every Dollar General employee puts in 110%. I mean, why would they? The starting pay can be as low as $9 an hour. Benefits, debatable. Skeleton crews, you bet. They get the bare minimum. Plus, there's a lot more that goes into running a successful store than meets the eye. So stay with me on this one. Let's pretend that you are a Dollar General employee. You show up to work and it's only you and the manager that day. So the manager takes the register. You're going to get started on the 2,000-piece truck. That means you're stocking the shelves, you are rotating product, you're checking for expiration dates, but in the middle of all of that, bam, your fresh truck gets there. So all of that takes priority. You need to get that milk in the coolers, you need to get the vegetables put up, but in the meantime, there's a line forming and your boss needs help. So you're now going to stop what you're doing, you're going to go and open up the self-checkout register, but Dollar General doesn't allow self-checkout any longer, so you need to stand there and check everyone else out at the self-checkout to make sure that no one's stealing anything. Now your vendors start showing up. Pepsi, Lay's, Coca-Cola, all of those people have paperwork that you have to sign off on. So you stop doing what you're doing, you go and take care of all of those people. Do you ever make it back to your fresh truck or the 2,000-piece truck that you started off with this morning? Not to mention the 10 other jobs that you need to get done during the day, like price changes, resetting aisles and end caps. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But you get the picture. Yes, there are lazy employees who stand around and do nothing all day, but there are also employees who bust their butts, do their jobs, and still can't keep up. And I mean, there are limits. Limits on the number of employees, limits on the number of hours that can be worked for that store. It's really a flawed system. So eventually you have to ask yourself, is this mess just a form of corporate level controlled chaos? Is this intentional? Well, speaking of corporate, the article continues on by saying, depending on what the numbers look like at the end of the quarter, the company would buy unnecessary items to bring the margin way down or way up, depending on how they wanted the financial statements to look. As the stock price tumbled, once these problems became known, the lawsuit argues that investors ultimately paid the price. Well, I would argue not only investors, but employees, customers, and entire communities are affected when Dollar General makes poor decisions. And this next part blew me away. The problems began with extreme overbuying by Dollar General buyers without regard to demand. The company's distribution centers were being sent 40 to 50 containers of inventory per day, but only unloading 10 to 20, which meant that they could never catch up. At one point, company executives allegedly discussed what to do with 31 football fields worth of trailers sitting on parking lots with unloaded inventory. Let me just say that part again. 31 football fields worth of tractor trailers sitting on lots with unloaded inventory. What in the world? Here's your sign, DG. But wait, did you think we were done? Did you think we were done? No, that is not all. That's definitely not it, because they are calling DG all the way out. One employee is quoted as calling the situation a house of cards that would crumble because the company would not stop buying product, but also would not build the resources needed to handle it properly. Products were not accurately inventoried, seasonal items sat in storage as the season came and went, and much of it ended up in dumpsters. Dollar General would overorder merchandise, and since there was no room in the distribution center warehouses, the company would force send the products to the stores, the plaintiff alleges. A former store manager said she pleaded with the warehouses, for the love, please stop sending us this, but excess product would still arrive the next week. Now, I've witnessed a similar situation myself, where this specific store had a ton of toilet paper holders. I would guess about 15 to 20 on the shelf and on the sky shelf, and they continuously received 6 new toilet paper holders every single week, and these were discontinued. Another former store employee describes how the stores already backed up with excess inventory would often receive truckloads of new unneeded inventory from their distribution centers, saying there's no dial to turn it down. And apparently, no employees to deal with it all. There were not enough staff hours to get the shelves stocked and inventory rotated, resulting in massive stockpiles of inventory lining the corridors at stores to the extent that it blocked fire exits impeded access to safety equipment, and otherwise created dangerously unsafe work conditions. So again, two big problems. Too much inventory and not enough employees, which is not the store's fault. That is corporate and upper management. They are in charge of how many employees and how many hours they get to work. Now, another former employee is quoted as saying, "You go into any major city Dollar General and half of them are disasters. A good inspector would shut them down for cleanliness." And maybe that's what it's going to take. Maybe some DG stores need to be shut down. Now, the lawsuit states that all of this contributes to the pricing problems at DG, where they have faced many lawsuits and investigations. Like I was saying, skeleton crews, minimal hours, high turnover, overstocking, understaffing, all of that does not equal a good business practice. It might if you're only looking at the bottom dollar, but you're going to piss a lot of people off along the way. Ultimately, the plaintiff argues Dollar General executives knew about these problems, painted a rosy picture to investors, and misled them into thinking their investment was worth more than it really was. And it continues on to talk about more lies, mismanagement, a breach of fiduciary duties, waste of corporate assets, and they demand actions to reform and improve its corporate governance and internal procedures. And I would also challenge all corporate level employees and investors to drive away from corporate headquarters and visit any small town or city. Stop at $5 General stores without notice and just observe how things really are out here in the real world. Like I said in the beginning, it's not rocket science. So I want you all to go and check out the full article on coupons in the news, but I thought it was pretty funny. They did point out that the chief financial officer just recently left Dollar General to go over to Nordstrom's. So my thoughts on that, she may have been getting the heck out of Dodge. Now it is your turn. What do you think? What have you seen? What have you experienced? What improvements would you like to see at Dollar General? And more importantly, what are you tired of seeing at Dollar General? That is going to be it for me for now, but if you want to see more videos like this, please let me know down in the comment section below. And of course, make sure that you stick around and stay tuned for even more crazy deals.